Shana Tova, welcome to this morning's Yom Kippur service. Today it will be led by, your clergy. I'm Rabbi Jon Hanish, Cantor Noa Shaashua, and our former rabbinic intern turned religious school director, Sam Klein, who will soon be a rabbi himself. We'll also have pieces inserted into our service led by congregants. We're going to begin this service by turning to page 138 and singing Ma Tovu.
Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, vani beroch hastecha, avo betecha, eshtacha ve'elchecha kodshecha be'yiratecha. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Adonai ahavti me'yon betecha, umekon mishkan kevodecha, mishkan kevodecha, ve'ani eshtachaveh, ve'ekra, evrecha lifnei Adonai, osi. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Vani tefilati lecha, Adonai et ratzon, Elohim berov hastecha, Elohim berov hastecha, Haneni be'emet yishecha. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, mishkenotecha
Each year we come together to reflect. And I like to think about that term Tikkun Olam. We all know Tikkun Olam. It means healing the world. It's an idea that our mystics gave us. And the idea is through prayer, through reflection, and through action, we can heal our planet. But there are other ideas about Tikkun Olam, about healing. We need to think about, Tikkun Mishpacha, healing our families. And we've been spending a lot of time with our families lately. I know my household has been full. Others of us haven't been near family members, but have been in communication through Skype or through FaceTime or through Zoom. So yes, we need to heal our family because relationships, I'm sure, have been strained. And there's also Tikkun Nafshi, the healing of our souls. Because each one of us, well, over the course of the year, our souls have become troubled, have become, well, in need of repair, in need of tikkun. So we're given this day of Yom Kippur, this day to reflect on these three tikkuns. Tikkun olam, tikkun mishpacha, tikkun nafshi. We reflect on them and we become whole once again. And these are the ideas we are going to reflect on over the course of this day. Let us focus on this triad of healing this Yom Kippur morning. We continue with the Baruch Hu found on page 178. Please rise and face our ark. Rabbi Levi Yitzhak of Berdichev once wrote, "When things are good, only you. And when things are bad, only you." We have to think about what is with us at all times. So the good moments and the bad moments there to support us, care for us, give us the ability to move forward. Some of us might call that entity God. Some of us might call it community. But it is there. And its ideas are reflected in the prayer, the Shema. Let us cover our eyes and say this prayer together with the cantor.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated. We continue with the Vahafta, found on page 188.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We turn to page 196 for the Micha Mocha, a song of joy, a song the Israelites sang after 400 years of slavery, after crossing that sea of reeds, after finally reaching the edge of the desert. They didn't know what lay ahead, but they knew what it represented. They knew it represented a new life. And so they sang with joy and with happiness in their hearts. The Micha Mocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נוע תהילות, אוסף אלה, נוע תהילות, אוסף אלה, שירה חדשה, שבחו גאולים לשמחה על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו
It is said that once a Jew had lost his way, went to his Rebbe, and he said to him, "Rebbe, I'm beginning to think that I no longer believe in God." And the Rebbe asked him a simple question: "Do you care?" And the man, he said, "Well, of course I care, but what do you mean by that?" "Well, do you care about yourself?" And he said, of course I care about myself. I want to live a long, good life." And so then the Rebbe said, "Do you care about your family?" And he said, "Of course I care about my family." And then the Rebbe said, "Do you care about your community and about the people who surround you, about your environment, about your world?" And then he said, "Of course I care." And the Rebbe, he said, "Well, if you care, then you believe." Let us remember that caring is a reflection of our beliefs as we rise for the Amidah, the standing prayer. It is found on page 198. Please join me in this prayer.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה.
We are on page 202. Remember us for life, sovereign God who treasures life. Inscribe us in the book of life for your sake, God of life.
זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים וחוטבינו בספר החיים למענך אלוהים חיים למענך 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 אלוהים למענך למענך אלוהים חיים למענך 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 אלוהים למענך למענך אלוהים חיים.
You may be seated. The Unatah Tokef focuses on the awesome nature of these days of awe. It focuses on God as judge. But even as there is a litany of ways that we might pass, it speaks about the ways we might be saved. Through repentance, through prayer, through charity. All of these temper God's judgment. And all of these ideas are a metaphor for how fully we can live life as long as we stay on the right road. We continue at the Unatah Tokef on page 208.
ונתן תוקף קדושת היום כי הוא נורא ואיום כיסאך ותשב עליו באמת. אמת, כי אתה הוא דיין ומוכיח ויודע ועד וכותב וחותם וסופר ומונה ותזכור כל הנשכחות ותפתח את ספר הזיכרונות ותפתח את ספר הזיכרונות ומאליו יקרא וחותם יד כל אדם בו. כבקרת רואה עדרו מעביר צונו תחת שבטו כן תעביר ותספור ותמנה ותפקוד נפש כל חי ותחתוך קצבו לכל בריאה ותכתוב את גזר דינם.
We continue on page 212. Please read with me. On Rosh Hashanah, this is written, and on the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. How many will pass away from this world, and how many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by war and who by beast? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who tormented? And who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted? But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of this decree. Utshuva utfila utsataka mavirin et ro'a hagzera.
בראש השנה יכתבון, וביום צום כיפור יכתבון. בראש השנה יכתבון, וביום צום כיפור יכתבון. בראש השנה צום כיפור יחתמון כמה יעברון וכמה יבראון בראש השנה ייכתבון וביום צום כיפור יחתמון בראש השנה ייכתבון וביום צום כיפור יחתמון מי יחיה ומי ימות מי וקיצור ומי לא וקיצור מי באש ומי במים מי בחרב ומי בחיה מי ברב ומי בצמא מי ברש ומי במגפה מי בחניקה בראש השנה ייכתבון וביום צום כיפור יחתמון בראש השנה ייכתבון וביום צום כיפור יחתמון מי אני ומי ישיר מי יושפל ומי ירום ותשובה תפילה וצדקה מעבירים את רוע הגזירה.
Let us rise for the Kedusha found on page 218.
נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני, קדוש, 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 אלוהייך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה, 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 הללויה,
And now let us turn to page 220 for Lador Vador. We will teach your greatness, Lador Vador, from generation to generation. And to the end of time, we will affirm your holiness. Our God, your praise shall ever be on our lips, for your power is boundless, sovereign, and holy.
לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא יבוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך.
Each day as I work from my home office, I take breaks, much needed breaks. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And often during these moments, I go into my backyard, not toward a deck chair or the inviting pool, but toward my garden, a garden that did not exist in either reality or my imagination in early March. It started with one planter in early May and has grown and grown and grown. And as I walk between the plants, it relaxes me. It brings a smile to my face. It places me in a position of awe. Yes, awe. It's a big idea, I know, but I am in awe. Awe at my plant's growth, awe at the fruits they bear, awe at the bees that come to taste of their various nectars, awe at the caterpillars that feast on tender green leaves that I so gently remove, awe at the animals that sneak a bite of a cucumber or tomato when I'm not looking. Awe, unadulterated awe. I'm like a child in a preschool where each moment is a new discovery. Think about the world through the eyes of a young child. The first experience in a sandbox, the excitement of a tricycle ride, the story of a teacher, the strange sound that comes out of a cowbell, the witnessing the birth of guppies. All of these are moments of awe for a young child, moments where they are present and they are amazed, so amazed that the world is perfect but yet still a mystery. A world so much larger than themselves, yet revealing its wonders in a way that fills their spirits with joy and with happiness. Yep, that's the way I feel as I walk through my garden. The emotion of awe. It occurs when you encounter that which is vast, so vast it defies all you know. Or when you encounter something that exists beyond your immediate frame of reference, thereby changing your sense of self and stimulating your sense of wonder. Now, over the past few years, you've heard two different High Holy Day sermons on joy and happiness, not awe. Rabbi Becky shared one with you last year, and I did the same a few years prior. Happiness and joy are key to who we are as a community and as individuals. But before one can be happy, before one can experience joy, one needs to know how to feel awe, to look at the world and be amazed by all that is greater than us. Some may call this experience God, others possibly nature. Does it matter? As long as we see a greater connectedness, one that we might not possibly understand but can experience, isn't that what we all need? And once we've gone through a moment of awe, we can enter a place of joy and happiness and holiness. Yamim Noraim. Yamim is the Hebrew word for days. Noraim is typically translated as awe. We put them together and we get Yamim Noraim, the days of awe. And these are the days that begin on Rosh Hashanah and end on Yom Kippur. But Noraim, the singular Norah, is also the word for fear. Are these supposed to be the days of fear or the days of awe? That is the beauty of Norah. It has a hint of both. For example, the Torah teaches us, Ish, Imo, Aviv, Tira'u. Each of you will be in Norah of your mother and father. Norah of your parents. So which is it? Fear of your parents or awe? Which would you prefer as a parent? For your children to fear you or be in awe of you? Wouldn't you prefer that they say, I am in awe of how much my parents have accomplished, rather than, I am in fear of my parents and their tempers? Yep, we all desire to be in awe and to be the inspiration of awe. I doubt many of us want others, especially our kids, to be fearful of us. But I will admit, a touch of, how will my parents react if well, that never hurts if they're considering taking a reckless action. So as a parent, I like my Norah for my children to be 90% awe and 10% fear. Norah, awe, includes two very different ideas. It can remind us of the fragility, fleetingness, finite nature, and severe limitations of human life. But it can also generate a sense of the great significance of human life. Or simply put, it's like that old Jewish fable that speaks about a Jew who carries two pieces of paper in his pockets. On one piece of paper it says, I am but dust and ashes. And on the other it states, the world was created for me. Yes, we are but dust and ashes, yet the mysteries of the world were created and entrusted to us, to each and every one of us. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel once wrote, in awe and in amazement the prophets stand before the mystery of the universe. I promise that if God spoke to you, turning you into a prophet, you'd be in awe and amazement and possibly a little scared. So let's think about Moses. He was a great prophet, and how he felt when that moment occurred, when God spoke to him. Aren't we taught that Moses, on his daily trek with his flock, and let's not forget that he'd been taking this route for 40 years, spied upon a burning bush? He stood at the doorstep of the universe and realized that today was a day like no other. At this moment, something that was occurring that was beyond his logical comprehension and all that he knew, and it was scary, causing a bit of fear, but it was also pretty awesome. Abraham Joshua Heschel, in discussing concepts like awe and wonder, spoke of radical amazement. That's what occurred with Moses. Radical amazement. But it's not just the prophets that can stand before the mystery of the universe and be radicalized. It is true for each and every one of us. We often feel awe at things that seem beyond our comprehension. Childbirth, the creation of a new idea, art, and of course, nature. Have you recently had a moment of radical amazement? Because we're spending so much time indoors watching our televisions and staring at our computer screens, I doubt that many of us have had a moment of this radical amazement. But reflect on your past. I know that there are moments of radical amazement in your life that have occurred. If you focus on them, a smile will come to your face, joy will enter your heart, and you will stand at the gateway of holiness. Now recently, HBO Max, this is not a commercial, released the movie American Pickle. It's a Jewish Rip Van Winkle story. A man falls into a vat of pickle juice, gets locked into the vat just as the plant closes, and he isn't discovered for a generation. He wakens to find he has only one living relative, a grandson. He re-enters life in a state of awe, seeing all the amazing inventions like a seltzer machine. Boy, was he excited about that seltzer machine. The whole world is a miracle to him, something that his grandson re-experiences through him. Well, until they get into a series of fights and disagreements, which obviously make for good storytelling. And if you haven't seen it yet, don't worry, I'm stopping here. But just imagine if you awoke years down the line, how different the world would be and how much awe you would have, possibly with a little bit of fear tossed in. You'd be in a state of Norah, for sure. And awe does not just come prior to moments of joy and happiness. It also comes before faith. Heschel taught that faith does not come into being out of nothing, inadvertently, unprepared, and unearned surprise. Faith is preceded by awe. Traditionally, during our Yom Kippur Ne'ilah service and its Slichot, we give community members a moment to stand in front of the ark and have a moment. This year we opened the doors of the temple during the week between our high holy days in order to maintain social distancing. When you stand in front of the open ark, sometimes with family and sometimes alone, you change. I've observed people walking away after this experience, crying or smiling, but always with light pouring from their souls. It's just an ark. It's just 5 scrolls. What are we in awe of? What brightens our souls by taking this action? Well, perhaps you're in awe of the Holocaust Torahs and their difficult yet life-affirming journeys. Perhaps you're in awe of what the scrolls represent, a living and vibrant Judaism rooted in history and culture. Perhaps you're in awe of this moment, that you're standing, doing as best you can, and that is all that God or anyone else can ask of you. But I highly doubt that standing in front of the ark generates a moment of fear. Yes, it might have a tinge of the immenseness of life, and that might generate some concern, but on the whole, pure, unadulterated awe. One of the ways to have awe become part of your daily life is to take a moment to stop. Stop and be in the moment. Often we are too self-absorbed or too busy or too sad to actually stop. But when you stop, you have the ability to be present. And when you're present, you're experiencing the miracle of awe because awe is all around you. From a flower petal to a family member's smile, when you stop, you start to see the miracle of each and every moment. But if you decide that awe isn't and shouldn't be part of your life, then beware. Our tradition teaches, forfeit your sense of awe, your ability to revere, and the universe becomes a marketplace for you. Without awe, you live in a world of consumerism. All that matters is that which you can get. Now, Martin Buber referred to these transactional moments as I-it relationships. I have a dirty shirt, I take it to the dry cleaner, I give the dry cleaner a couple bucks, and a few days later I get my shirt back clean. There's no deep and meaningful interaction, though I do like my dry cleaner. He's a nice guy. Overall, though, we survive off of I-it relationships. The world wouldn't work without them, but these do not make our lives special. Buber describes other types of relationships that he calls I-thou moments. And I-thou moments, we are truly connected to something, a person, an animal, a creative act, a place of great beauty, a piece of art. In these moments, we lose all sense of time and place and are at one with whatever threw us into this state. These are moments that are filled with holiness and with awe. We can't make every moment special, but we can fill more of them with Norah if we try. How do we add awe to our lives during these days of isolation? I fully admit it's not easy. Each day can be a struggle just to do what you need to do to make it to tomorrow. But we are cheating ourselves when we don't revel in the mysteries of life. the questions that can't be answered, and the world as it changes from season to season, or better yet, the world as it changes day to day. I challenge each and every one of you to step outside, find a tree or a plant, and interact with one of its leaves. But don't pull the leaf off the plant. But feel free to stare and to touch, and then be in awe of something so simple and yet so complex. And if you lose yourself in your awe, that's okay, because awe is a gateway to God, to holiness, to spirituality, to whatever elevates you to be a better you. Elizabeth Barrett Browning once wrote, "Earth's crammed with heaven, and every common bush of fire with God, but only to he who sees, who takes off his shoes. The rest sit round and pluck blackberries." Yes, these are the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe. But change does not come out of fear. Change comes from a realization that there's a vastness that can overwhelm while still uplift us, that heaven is all around, and that every bush burns with holiness, if only we take off our shoes and feel awe. May your fast be an easy one. Please rise as I open the ark. Sam and I will be reading the Avinu Malkeinu, found on page 252. Please join us. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu, chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu, chamol aleinu va'al olalenu vitapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families.
Avinu Malkeinu, kalei dever v'cherev v'ra'av me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger.
Avinu Malkeinu, kaleh kol tsar umastin me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
Avinu Malkeinu, kotvenu b'sefer chayim tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived.
Avinu Malkeinu, chadesh aleinu shana tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu, malei yadenu mi birchotecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings.
Avinu Malkeinu, harem keren mishihecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Banu
On page 256, please join me in reading the 13 attributes of God, beginning with the words Adonai, Adonai. Adonai, Adonai, God, compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the 1000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting pardon.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed la'alafim, Noser Avon v'Fesha, וחטא ונקה. אדוני, אדוני, אל רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקה.
Today's Torah portion is Nitzavim, and it comes from the book of Deuteronomy. And this book is a series of speeches by Moses on his final day on this planet. And he has so much to tell, well, the Israelites. Let's remember that they are the children of the slaves. The slaves have all died out. This is the new generation. So he has to review laws with them. He has to review the journeys that they took. He has to remind them of their commitments. And finally, he needs to talk to them about their covenant with God. And so he says the following to them. You are standing here, all of you today, before the source of life, your God. Your leaders and your tribes, your elders and your officials, every person of the people Israel, your children and your spouses, the strangers that live in your midst, those who cut wood and those who draw water, all of you prepared to enter into covenant with the eternal your God. Strangely enough, Moses doesn't mention the high priest. He doesn't mention the Levites who are responsible for caring for the temple. He doesn't mention the middlemen. You see, there were middlemen during this point. They were the conduits to God. And the Israelites are supposed to go to them or go through them to get to God. But not in this covenant renewal. At this moment, God is saying to the people, you, each of you, has a direct personal connection to holiness. This is quite different than what occurred some 40 years earlier, when the Israelite people, on the day that they received the 10 Commandments, that they had become fearful, and they said to Moses, you go talk to God. We are too scared. The people are no longer scared. They want to hear God's words, and they want to be in covenant with God. It's a different generation. Now, Nitzavim means standing. So how does a generation ready to move forward, why does it need to stand? Well, it is believed through mystical tradition that you need to stand. Stand, oh, so silently. Stand and prepare yourself when you are ready to enter a more holy state. And then after you're done standing, you can move forward. You can move towards holiness, towards goodness. You can improve your life. Today we're all standing still. Let's remember that standing still is that moment before moving forward, that moment before you enter a more holy state. We now turn to page 266 in our books, and we'll now listen to our first Aliyah.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem Roshtechem shiftechem Ziknechem v'shoftrechem Kol ish Yisrael Tavchem nishechem v'gerecha Asher b'kereb machanecha Mechatev eitzecha Ad shoev memecha Leavlecha bivrit Adonai Elecha uvalato Asher Adonai Elecha koret imcha hayam
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nintan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Leman hakimota hayom lo ve'am vehu yeloecha leElohim ka'asher dibela v'hasher nishpa la'avotecha la'Abraham le'Yitzhak u'Yaakov velo etem levadhem anohi koret et habrit hazot ve'et ha'ala hazot ki et asher yeshno bo imanu emed hayom lifnei Adonai Eloheinu ve'et asher anenu po emanu hayom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat amet v'chayei olam nata b'chayenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam voed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam voed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Ki hamitzvah hazot asher anochi mitzavecha hayom lo nifleit hi mimecha v'lo rachaka hi lo bashamayim hi lemor mi Yalelanu hashamayma v'yikacheha lanu v'yishmi anu ota v'na'asena v'lo me'ever layam hi lemor mi yavar lanu el ever hayam v'yikacheha lanu v'yishmi'enu oto v'na'asena ki korov elecha hadever מאוד בפיך ובלבבך לעשותו.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'ke'olam natan b'tachenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
We now turn to page 273 for the Misha Baruch prayer. It is a prayer of healing, healing of mind, body, spirit. As the cantor sings this prayer to us, please use your chat window to write down names of those people who need some assistance. Cantor.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha. Those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
We now continue with our fourth Aliyah.
Hu et Adonai Hamavarach, Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
ראה נתתי לפניך חיום, את החיים ואת הטוב ואת המוות ואת חרא, אשר אנוכי מצווך חיום לאחווה. את אדוני אלוהיך ללכת בדרכיו ולשמור מצוותיו וחוקותיו ומשפטיו, וחיית ורבית, וברכך אדוני אלוהיך בארץ אשר אתה ושמה לרשתה. ואם יפנה לבבך ולא תשמע, ונידחת והשתחווית לאלוהים אחרים ועברתם.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tukenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Please rise as we return the Torah to the ark.
We state our vidui, our confession, in the plural, so that we create space for all of us to join in. We say Ashamnu, Bagadnu. Those who are hesitant to confess do so now without shame in the community, for we all seek forgiveness. We continue on page 296 with the Vidui Zuta, the short confession.
We continue with Al Chet, found on page 300. I will read the first line in Hebrew and then the English. Feel free to join me. Al Chet sha'atanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, and harm we have caused in your world, consciously and unconsciously. Al Chet sha'atanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through our thoughtlessness, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice. Al Chet sha'atanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by abusing our power, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. Al Chet sha'atanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through inflexibility and stubbornness. Al Chet sha'atanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters. Al Chet sha'atanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you in our routine conversations, and harm we have caused in your world through envy. V'al kulam Elohai slichot, slach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Elohai selichot.
And now we turn to page 310 for Ki Anu Amecha. Please feel free to read along with me. Our God and God of our ancestors, we are your people and you are our God. We are your children and you are our father, our mother. We are the people who serve you and you call us to serve. We are your community and you are our portion. We are your legacy and you are our purpose. We are your flock and you are our shepherd. We are your vineyard and, well, you watch over us. We are your work and you are our maker. We are your beloved and you are our lover. We are your treasure and you are the one we cherish. We are your people and you reign over us. We offer you our words and you offer us yours. So forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. Ki Anu Amecha.
כי אנו עמך ואתה מלכנו, אנו בניך ואתה אבינו, אנו נחלתך ואתה גורלנו, אנו צונך ואתה רואינו, אנו כרמך ואתה נוטרנו, אנו רעייתך ואתה דודנו.
I'd just like to remind everyone that because it is Yom Kippur, we have a full day of services and programs. Some wonderful guest speakers will be joining us. Please join us either on Facebook or on Zoom. I know the day can be cathartic if you decide to spend it with us. We're now going to conclude with Oseh Shalom. If there is someone in your household or a couple of people in your household, put your arms around them right now as we sing this song of peace.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו
Hello, I'm Rob Mullane, Temple President. We have a variety of services, speakers, and programs available all day today. Following this service, we have our engaging Tot and Family service starting at 11:30. At 1 p.m. this afternoon, Amy Cisa will join us from Jewish World Watch. And at 2:15 p.m., in partnership with Temple Ahavat Shalom, we are honored to welcome Dr. Stephen Windmuller again to speak to us on the upcoming election and its relationship to the Jewish community. Afternoon services will begin at 3:30, featuring the story of Jonah and the whale, followed by a meditation and reflection at 4:15. Yisker will begin at 4:45, followed by Neela. Our community breakfast will be live on Zoom at 6:15. Please join us. Also join us next Saturday evening at 6:30 p.m. for our Havdalah and Sukkot community celebration. More information is on our website and will also be mailed out this week. Please pencil in the date of October the 4th. We will be collecting our prayer books then at our community food drive for the West Valley Food Pantry. Please see The Voice for a list of most needed food items and give generously. The Voice can also be found at koltikva.org. Thank you to Temple member Bridget Stokes and her entire production crew for putting in countless hours for producing all of our High Holy Day services. Thank you also to everyone who has already given their High Holy Day appeal. We are over halfway to our budget. Please consider donating $360 or more so your contribution can be matched by our matching fund. Thank you to all of our generous donors for making this match possible. And thank you to everyone who made these High Holy Days possible. Gamar Hatima Tova. Shana Tova. I'm Rob Mullane, president of Kol Tikvah. Like you, my wife Terry and I have had our lives stood on end these past 6 months. And in the intervening time, we all have shifted, adjusted, and have done our very best, altering our lives to stay safe for ourselves, our children, parents, neighbors, and friends. And from the first days of this pandemic in March, your temple leaders have kept our congregation safe, providing love and joy as we have attended to the many needs of our community. Together, all of our efforts have enabled us as a community to weather these turbulent times and remain strong.
We want to wish all of you a very good new year, a much better year than the one that's just passed. We've been members of Kol Tikvah since its beginning, and we are loyal supporters.
We give to Kol Tikvah because of what Kol Tikvah gives to us.
Shortly after we moved in, we found our way to Kol Tikvah. And it was from that night on. It's like love at first sight. That's how we felt. We felt at home.
Then all of a sudden the lockdown started and we were all alone. I remember everyone was really scared. How long was this going to last? Are we safe? We were all sitting in our houses and we started getting messages from the clergy. We will be holding an in-service, social distancing of course. They were going to put their heads together and we would come up with a plan.
We support Kol Tikvah for the community, for the friendship, for the support and the love that we feel every single day.
And community is something that every human actually needs, and it takes work for us to make that community so that we're supporting each other, and that's why we support Kol Tikvah.
We can be Kol Tikvah strong.
We are Kol Tikvah strong.
Kol Tikvah strong.
We are Kol Tikvah strong.
Yay!
Hi, I'm Cynthia Deculus. Why do I give to Kol Tikvah? Well, that's easy. These last 5 months have been so unsettled. I stare at a computer screen all day. Our summer vacation plans were canceled. Family members are falling ill. And the kids are making the best of online learning. But throughout all this turmoil, the one constant has been Kol Tikvah. I am in awe of how the clergy and the senior staff transformed our community to this virtual world. My son Julian, who many of you have known since he was born, is applying to college. and he's going to chant the fourth Aliyah on Yom Kippur. One of the college applications asks him to comment on a place he considers home. When he read that question aloud at the dinner table, his sister Danielle said, "Well, that's easy, Kol Tikvah." And we all agreed. It is going to be the easiest essay he writes because it will be from the heart.
My family loves Kol Tikvah, and we depend on it. And I'm guessing yours does too. So please, this high holy day season, give generously. Give whatever is meaningful to you and your family. Any amount means a lot to Kol Tikvah. Don't stand idly by, and don't expect others to participate. Now is the time. If ever we need to protect and build on this legacy, it is now. I encourage you to donate at a minimum of $360 so that your donation can be matched through the Kol Tikvah Donor Matching Fund. We need to keep Kol Tikvah strong, and we need to make it secure for ourselves, our kids, and our community. Please go to koltikvah.org and donate, and give generously now.
We are Kol Tikvah strong.
Our morning service is now concluded. May your fast, may it be an easy one.